Alright guys, just a quick one today. We're going to be installing these window visors. I'm sure a lot of you have seen them. A lot of cars come factory with them. So this is basically my solution to driving a car that has no aircon in the wet and not fogging up and crashing. So they kind of do that, but we'll see. As you can see here, already installed one on the driver's side. Works pretty well. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it on the passenger side. And Bob's your uncle. Alright, so before we get started, please look at this. Seriously, this is what my cat thinks of my car. Yes, that is his urine. Alright, so these are pretty easy to do. The first one kind of took me about an hour or so, just trying to figure out how it mounts, etc. But this is basically what you're going to get. It's obviously going to be different for every car, but for my car, you get obviously the visor, and then you get some instructions which are semi-decent. I referred more to pictures to see how they mount other than the instructions. And then you've got your bracketry, nuts, bolts and little washers. Okay, so the way these ones are meant to mount is basically something like that. So they've got this bit of double-sided tape down here, which clips to the window, or the mirror I should say. I didn't like that, so I actually cut that off, as you'll see me do in a minute, and then put some rubber there, and I ran it differently. First up, you've got to get this rubber seal, which hopefully you can see here. Sometimes it's a bit of a trick to get it out. Got to pull it right out down to about the top of the mirror, as you can see there. Alright, so then the next step is to get your visor basically and hold it where it's going to sit, which is roughly about there. Hopefully I'm not blocking the camera too much, but something like that. And then with a non-permanent marker, you just got to put a mark roughly where your bracket's going to have to be to line up with the bolt hole. And that's that. Right, so next up, you've got these brackets. Hopefully that's focusing. So that basically sits up into the seam, as you'll see here. So obviously where your marks are, you push one of these up, and they should bite onto the seam and hold themselves in place like that. There you can see how they clip in around there. Alright, so it's just a matter of then obviously double checking your bracket alignment. Alright, that's on the money. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to cut this section off, which is meant to stick on the mirror housing. I'd probably leave it if I had black mirror housings, but it looks a bit shitty in my opinion, so I'm just going to go. The other one I did with a hacksaw. I'm probably going to use the little cut-off wheel on the Dremel and just buzz that off quickly, and then I'll put a bit of rubber over it, as you'll see as well. So there you go. That is where it's been cut off. Now what I've got here is just a bit of rubber hose, cut a slot down the middle, and then literally sleeve that on there like so, which in turn kind of neatens up that edge and also kind of stops it rubbing on the mirror housing if it's flapping around, which it doesn't really do, if I'm honest. Alright, that's it. Alright, so yet again, you just want to double check your bracket locations. Alright, so that's pretty sweet. So now you can go ahead and push your door rubber back up. And then you can just widen the window up, which will lock that in even more, but that's good enough for now. Alright, so what you've got for mounting, you've got, hopefully you can see that, 2 of these. I'm pretty sure 1 of these on each side of the visor, this little plastic washer. You've got a bolt, and then a nut, obviously. Alright, so now all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver and a 7mm socket to do up the nut on the other side. So it's just a matter of going through and lining up the bolts. And then on the back side, you basically got your nut and then a washer on top. So the washer is against the visor. So yeah, as you can see, that's basically bolted up, finger tight. You can bend these brackets a little bit to kind of do any fine adjustments to get the angles right, but that's pretty well right. So as you see here, that's basically how it sits. It's basically flush with the top of the door rubber, and it comes down here. It's my little custom bit which I've done here. They do actually supply you a bracket which is meant to clip in there and screw through that hole there, but either way, once you're driving it doesn't really flap around. So that's it.